Maryada Purushottam and Maryada. Now, when we talk about Satyug, when we describe Satyug, when we describe the state of the soul in Satyug, we use 5 words. In Hindi, they are called Sarva Gun Sampanna. So you are full of all virtues. Sola Kala Sampurn. You are skilled in every which way. And then Sampurn Nirvikari. So there is no vice in Satyug. Then Maryada Purushottam. So in English it is translated as the one with the highest code of conduct. And then there is Ahimsa Paramo Dharma, which means that being non-violent is your religion. So today Baba is talking about this quality in deity souls, which is called Maryada Purushottam, which means you have the highest code of conduct. And Baba says that how do you become Maryada Purushottam in Satyug? So by following totally the code of conduct that Baba has given in Sangam Yuga. So you become naturally the one with the highest code of conduct if you follow totally the prescribed code of conduct by Baba in Sangam Yuga. Okay, so Baba has prescribed the code of conduct for every step. Yes, so Baba has given us the directions about our awareness, our attitude, our drishti, our thoughts, our words, our actions. And Baba has defined for us how everything should be. And when we go step by step and follow accurately every direction that Baba has given us, when we follow the entire prescribed code of conduct in Sangam Yuga, then you become the one with the highest code of conduct in Satyug. Now, today I was just thinking that when we are in Satyug and Treta Yuga, then there are no rules. Yes, you don't need to prescribe, you don't need to create rules and prescribe those rules, or you don't need to motivate people to subscribe to those rules. So that's why it's called Maryada Purushottam, because you know how to behave. These days also people say, there is a very interesting thing that is said these days: common sense is the most uncommon. So, you don't have common sense. So, what is common sense? So, basic civic sense, basic sense of how to talk, how to walk, how to conduct yourself in society, in family, any which way. So, or in a professional life. So, there is something that you call common sense, which is totally absent these days. And so common sense has to be enforced by law. So this is what is happening. So look at what is the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So basically you are telling people, you're telling a human being who is supposedly the best creation in the world, that don't litter around. and they need to be told that. That's the what do you say? That's the sorry thing or sad thing in Kali Yuga. And I always thought, when I used to travel by the metro, so people would just stand on the door of the metro and they wouldn't allow anybody to enter or exit. And the person standing on the door has to get down on the last station. And then he keeps pushing people who are coming in and going out. And then there has to be an announcement in the Delhi metro, continuous announcement, that please allow people who are getting up to get up and people who are getting down to get down. So please, उतरने वालों को उतरने दे, चढ़ने वालों को चढ़ने दे. So this is an announcement which has to be made regularly, or so there is a warning on the packet of the cigarette that smoking is injurious to health, and still people are smoking it. So all of these things are there, and this is what, you don't know what to eat. You have to be told what to eat. You have to be told where to go. You have to be told what to talk, how to talk. You have to be told everything. You have to, and about thought and awareness and attitude, of course, we have no idea. So this is how we are operating in Kali Yuga. So everything has to be told. So how to spend your money, how much to spend. People are spending and getting bankrupt. So don't you check your account balance? How can you go bankrupt? You don't know how to spend. You don't know how to calculate what is left, how much you have to spend. Yes, so this is how people are drinking and going on drinking, and they don't know where to stop. So there is addiction of many kinds. So Baba says that you look at the phone. So, and there was this one person who came to me and he told that I have a ear injury because of how much I talk on the phone. So his ear has started bleeding in a way, because all day he is holding that phone like this and talking. So just imagine that even when your eyes and your ears are telling you that you have to stop watching, stop talking, stop putting the phone so close to you, you don't know where to stop. So this is Kali Yuga, and this is the state where we have no maryada, where there is no maryada. And these days children don't have, again there is the next generation which is again more maryadaheen. So then the parents come and they tell us that my child is playing video games for 10 hours a day. And then we tell them, snatch the video game away. So just take it from the child and throw it in the dustbin, and don't give it back to the child. And so, this maryada has this, when there is no maryada, when there is no sense and sensibility, then you need enforced, you need to enforce it by power. Through you are making laws, and you are giving them the warning that if you don't do this, then you will face a punishment. So if you litter around, then you will be charged a fine, or if you don't follow traffic rules. Now what happens if you don't follow traffic rules? What happens if you don't follow traffic rules? The most natural thing that happens is either you kill or get killed. But the interesting thing is, killing or getting killed is not an enough deterrent. So you have to be told that if you don't follow traffic rules, then you will be charged a fine. And They are afraid of paying the fine, but not afraid of killing and getting killed. So that's the interesting thing. So and you know, there is one brother, when there was COVID and mask was mandatory while driving. So he said that I cannot put on a mask. So every day I pay at least 5,000-6,000 as fine, and that's fine. That's okay. But I cannot put on the mask. So then, you know, when you are trying to enforce it with fear, then there is another thing that comes into observation. So let us take this aspect also. So, you know, when there is no maryada, then you are always trying to bring about discipline or make somebody do something for fear of consequences. Yes, you are trying to enforce it through power, and then you want them to be afraid of the consequences. Now, and you know, people in bhakti said, be God fearing. So sometimes when somebody is not afraid of anything, you say, Bhagwan se to daro. So then you say, at least you be afraid of God. But the interesting thing about fear is a vice. And if you are trying to stop somebody because of a vice, then if another vice is as strong, you know, another vice takes over this vice, then this vice will not work. So what I'm trying to say is, let me explain it by an example. So have you seen that during COVID, there was a time when people stayed indoors because they were afraid that they will get infected and die, right? So it was the fear that was keeping them indoors. And then there came a time when they said, we will go out anyway, even if we die, it's okay. And suddenly they started partying at the beaches. Yes, and they were no more afraid of dying. And then there was this one brother who asked me, so Didi, is it that they have won over their fear of death? So is it like they have become, you know, soul conscious and they are no more afraid of death, that they are partying on the beach? So I said, no, the wanderlust has taken over the fear. Okay, so the sensual attraction of engaging in partying and socializing and just going out in the open air, that has taken over this vice of fear. But if that same person got infected, then he wouldn't speak the same language. Okay, then he wouldn't say, jo hota hai hone do. No. Then he would say, please save me. So a vice can be a binding force and can force somebody to do something only until another vice takes over. So, you know, have you seen that in relationships also, if there is a person who is loyal to you, or because they are you have, you know, there is a relationship of lust. So then when that same vice, even if it's not a different vice, that same vice gets triggered in more intensity for another person, then they suddenly stop looking at you. So that lust now, which was very binding and forceful, is no more forceful because that vice has shifted to another object. Or even, attachment. Children are so attached to their parents, but when they find someone else who they are attached to, then they just abandon the parents. So, vices cannot be a permanent solution. So you cannot deter somebody from doing something because of a vice. So, and have you seen that sometimes the basis of our relationship is greed? Or, you're feeding somebody's ego or something else. And then with time, that shift will happen where that person will source his object of greed from somewhere else, and then they will lose interest in you. So this is how it is working. So vices cannot, so in a world where there is no maryada, there is no natural sense of what we should do and what we shouldn't do, we are relying on vices to enforce somebody to do something. Yes, so in Satyug, you did not need lust or attachment for somebody to stay in the family. Yes, so they were not bound by lust and attachment. They knew their loyalty in the family without any vice. Yes, they had no reason to stay in the family, but they stayed because that's how the society is and how you have to stay together. These days, when there is no lust and attachment in the family, then people will ask, then why should I stay with this person? If they are not feeding anything, that they are not bringing to the table anything that I need or I'm seeking or I want. So then they start questioning, why should I be there? Yes, so, or if my senses are not getting gratified, then why should I even live this life? So they would try to end their life, they would try to commit suicide because the sensual pleasure is not there. So this is how people are behaving now, because there is no maryada, there is no sense of, you live in the body anyway and you live in a society anyway, and it's not about what you get, it's just about being there. Yes, so when you live in a society, it's not because of what you get, or the body is not for sensual pleasure. The soul is a happy, peaceful, loveful, blissful being in himself. So you just come onto the stage and play your part. That's it. So that's why people being their way or things being their way was not an expectation, or their not being their way was not a problem in the two yugas in the beginning. So it was, so every soul was behaving peacefully, lovefully, in happiness, bliss, and according to the highest code of conduct anyway. And then the second thing is, in Satyug and Tretayug, there is no duality. Have you seen that Baba has spoken about this duality in previous Murlis, that in Satyug and Tretayug there is no duality. So what does Baba mean when he says that there is no duality in Satyug and Tretayug? So what he means is, there is no anger, no ego, no attachment, no greed, no lust. There is only peace, happiness, bliss, joy. There is no opposite of that. Yes, and there is no choice for the soul to go into that. That choice doesn't exist. Correct? So there is no duality, means there is no limit set by the soul internally, beyond which, if the line is crossed, then you can get angry, then you can get upset. So there is that programming doesn't exist. So you know how to be peaceful, happy and loveful. You don't know the opposite. When you don't know the opposite, then there is no situation or circumstance or behavior which can drive you in the opposite, because that's your personal maryada. That doesn't, so it is not dictated by circumstances or behaviors. So people will leave their bodies in Satyug also, and everything will happen in Satyug also. It will not be like it's a constant day, every day repeating itself. No, there'll be so many changes every day. But since you don't know how to behave in the opposite, you can't do it. And from Dwapar Yuga, what happens is, we have duality. So we have, we know the opposite of peace, love and happiness. And then we prescribe codes. Yes, what is that prescribed code? The scriptures. And we prescribe in the scriptures. So when it is wrong to get upset and when it is right to get upset. When it is wrong to be angry, when it is right to be angry. When it is wrong to kill and when it is right to kill. So we do that in the scriptures, because when duality sets in and there is the capacity to get angry, revengeful and to get upset, to kill, to sabotage. So these things come in, then you start prescribing the right and wrong about when it is right to be vicious and when it is wrong to be vicious. Okay, and that is what becomes the problem, because then you start thinking that I'm vicious but I'm right. Okay, so this starts getting attached. So in the Gita, when you read the Gita, so you get an idea that if somebody is unfair to you in property division, then it is okay to kill. So what is Mahabharata? It's about a property dispute, right? So it's a property dispute, and in that property dispute, if you have been treated unfairly, then you can kill. That's the message we have received. And then you get angry and you kill and you say, okay, I killed, but I was not wrong in killing, because this is what God advised at this point, and I did what God asked me to do. So this is how we start creating these laws, these do's, these don'ts, and these do's, don'ts are all about when you are allowed to be vicious and when you are not allowed to be vicious. And so you see that when you say that you can be wrong to your wife if you're right to your parent. Okay, so even if Sita is Sita has to follow Ram to the jungle, it's okay, because Ram is being an obedient son. But what about being a good husband? So when you're a good son, it's okay to not be a good husband, right? Because that soul is more important than this soul. And then this soul has to prove that I'm a good wife by participating in that act of the husband. And I will tell you one thing. There was this one lady, and she came and she told me, my husband tries to do business, and every time he tries to do business he fails. And he basically, Didi, my reading is he is not good at business. He should try to do a job, but he always wants to enter into a business, and he keeps making attempts, and there have been at least 12 failed attempts until now. And now we are in trouble. So I said, what trouble? So she said, every time he has a fancy of starting a business, then the normal and natural implication of that is that I go and sit before my parents and ask them for money. And I go and sit before my parents and bring him money, and he does the business and he swindles all the money. And then again, next time he has a fantasy of doing another business, I have to again go and sit before my parents. So I said, and why do you have to do that? Why can't you just say that it's okay, you want to do the business, I will support you, but I will not get money from my parents. So you want me to do something, some research, some help, some job in the business, some support you need, I will do that for you, but but don't expect this from me. So she said, no, if I say that, then in that very moment I am a bad wife, and then the whole family will tell me that you didn't support your husband in times of financial need. So it cannot work like that. So you see that these things happen from the scriptures, that you don't have to use your discernment and decision making at every step. So you have these paradigms where you want to be a good wife, good husband, good this, good that, and you can perform wrong actions and be a good wife. So something that doesn't fit into your sensibility also has to be done, because that's an expectation in a relationship. And then saving the relationship or proving that you are a good wife or a good husband or a good son is more important than being true to yourself and true to your sense and sensibility of what is the right thing to do. So this is what happens when there is duality. So as duality sets in from Dwapar Yuga, then you start, so there is the capacity to be vicious, and then you draw the lines about when it is right to be vicious and when it is wrong to be vicious. And then for 2 yugas we keep doing that. We keep engaging in righteous anger, righteous arrogance, righteous lust. So lust is also right and wrong. So when there is lust with one partner and the partner you're married to, it's right, and then it's wrong. And these days people say that, or not these days, it's always been like that. So when the man engages with 3 women in lust, it's okay, and when the woman does it for one, it's okay. But when the woman engages in two lustful relationships, that's wrong. So we have set all these, all these specifications about, and then you see what is the solution that we are finding in this Kaliyugi world for this situation. So people have realized that there is a bias and there is this thing going on. So the solution they have come up with is, everybody is allowed to be lustful at all times, and everybody is allowed to be angry at all times, and everybody is allowed to throw around their ego all the time. So now we are moving from sanctioned vices to license of vices. So earlier, so what the scriptures did is they regulated the vices by putting curbs on the limits of where you can do what and what is allowed, what is not allowed, where it is right and where it would be branded as wrong. And now the Kalyugi solution that people are finding about it is give everybody this license to be vicious all the time, at all places, and with everybody. So this is the Kalyugi solution to it. Yes, and then of course, when this kind of a situation arrives, then Baba has to come. And when Baba comes, then Baba says that now I am teaching you about yourself, and I am telling you that you being you is not dependent on any circumstance and behavior. And it is not right or wrong to be vicious in one situation or the other. Vices is not your quality. So you have the capacity and the duty to be knowledgeful, peaceful, loveful, happy, blissful, powerful, come what may. So what is the maryada that Baba sets for us? So the maryada for a Brahmin soul is the in awareness, you always have to be soul conscious. The maryada for the awareness is never see the body. Never be aware of the body. Because as soon as you look at the body, you will become body conscious. So in your awareness, always hold this knowledge that this is a soul. Don't keep the relationship, the gender, the age, the caste, the creed, the religion in your awareness. Just know that this is a soul. What is your attitude? The maryada for attitude is you have to be a giver come what may. Never have the attitude of what I want to receive from the soul. You are the child of the bestower. Your attitude is that I have to give happiness to everyone. So Baba gives us personal maryada. So Baba says, it is not conditional. It is not like if this happens, you are allowed this. If that happens, you are allowed that. No, you are not allowed to be the opposite of your own spiritual self, come what may. So Baba says, I am setting the code for how you have to be and how your every step of action has to be under all circumstances. So under all circumstances, in the morning, afternoon, night, any time, you have to be soul conscious in your awareness. Your attitude has to be that of a giver. It's not like if you have given 3 times, then the 4th time you become a beggar. Yes, which is what values teach us. What does value system say? Give and take. So they say you give, but taking is also okay, and you have to wait to take. But Baba says give, give and give. Don't wait to take. Because that is where the whole problem will come up. So attitude, even when you have worked all day, from morning till night, at 9 p.m. also, don't think that now I am eligible to take. Because if you think that now you're eligible to take, it is that moment you will lose your happiness. So this is the attitude. What is the drishti we have to have? So the drishti is everyone is a peaceful, powerful, loveful soul deserving Baba's love. And then how should our thoughts be? Our thoughts should always be positive, powerful, purposeful. No waste, no weak thoughts. How should our Vani be? So whenever we talk, we have to be soft, sweet, and speaking less words, but also yukti yukt. So our Vani has to be very yukti yukt. So it has to hit the target. So you don't beat around the bush. You know what to say, how to say in a matter that it leaves an impact. So that's the direction for the Vani. And Baba told us that is not manipulation. That's discernment and good decision about what words to use, how to use, so that the impact is left. And then there is karma. So Baba says every karma, so whether you are using your physical energy, your mind, your wealth, it has to be for Vishwa Kalyan. So you have to check whether it's for creating a pure world, that you're spending your energy, any task you're doing, any penny you're spending, is it creating a pure world? So are you using it for Baba's seva? So Baba says, this is how I have given you personal maryada. Now it's not conditional. It's not like if this happens, you can shift to this. Baba has not said that if somebody misbehaves a lot with you, then that is not a soul, that is a bad soul. So you keep that in your awareness and you are exempt from, you are exempt in that situation. No, Baba has not said that. So Baba says, come what may, this is how you have to be, because your source is me and you have to be the way I ask you to be. You take everything from me and you be here according to things that you receive from me. You don't have to expect anything here and make your state of mind conditional upon what's going around you. And Baba says, if you just follow this one thing that you have to do as Baba has asked you to do, stay in that maryada. When you have withdrawn the power of other people and circumstance to dictate your attitude, behavior, thought, word, action, then you automatically become Maryada Purushottam. Then you create those sanskars where you'll be eligible to go to Satyug, and for 2500 years you can be yourself despite everything. Okay. Om Shanti.